Well, good morning, depending on what time you're watching this video. And, well, you know, we've got a fun one this week, folks. I am doing some work in sugar beets, and so that's always fun. Welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. Keep driving. Okay, and then, yeah, you can just like drive down a not so steep part right here. Oh yeah, you're good to go. You can like drive down to the bottom where it's gray. Okay, alright, perfect. You did it. Well done. Very good job. Okay, I will come greet you. Yep. Alright, so my girlfriend Jenny is here and she is coming out for a ride.
So excited!
It is exciting. You have cookies. What? Something
sweet for my sweetie. This is awesome.
So here we are. This is the rotary hoe.
Okay. Tell me more.
So basically what we're trying to do here is break the crust. Because you can see like there's kind of like that crust. Like after it rains and it dries up, it'll leave kind of that top little crust on it. And sometimes the plants can have a tough time emerging through that. And so basically what we're trying to do here, this is navy beans. We're trying to break the crust so we can have some good emergence.
So these are navy beans already planted?
Yes, yep. We planted these over a week ago.
And you said because of the rain, that's why it crusted like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It typically happens when it's like, after you get a rain and it's hot. That seems like that's when it kind of happens. Well, let me introduce you to my girlfriend, Jenny. She is out for a ride today. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing good. I actually didn't come out for a ride. I came to teach Mitch how to run this tractor. You think you got it now?
I think I'm learning, but I've got lots to learn. She brought me out a slice of pizza and a cookie and a Gatorade, made with beet sugar.
Gotta take care of my man.
Yeah. what we've got going on is we're putting down Thimet insecticide for a little thing called Sugar Beet Root Maggot. And so Sugar Beet Root Maggot is an insect. It's usually a bigger issue in the northern parts of the Red River Valley. And so that is what we're doing right now. We're putting down a granular insecticide called Thimet, and we're doing that with our Thimet applicator, which is a modified rotary hoe. And so this is a Yeti rotary hoe, and it's basically a home-built device. We didn't home build it, somebody else did, local did. But it's got like these cyclone deals on it with these hoses that come from our Gandy air boxes that feeds the insecticide down the tubes and onto the plant. So this field I'm on, we did not put nurse crop down here. This is just volunteer wheat growing. It's pretty hairy in this part, but that's okay. You know, that's what we're looking for with the wind erosion and that kind of thing. And you can see actually it's kind of a stripe right down right here. And so that's gonna be where the combine had more seed loss compared to over here where it's more of a blank spot. But the rows of sugar beets go this way. Kind of see them there. And so we're actually just starting to kill off all of our nurse crop and volunteer wheat and weeds and things like that. So basically we're doing our first spray on our sugar beets of Roundup, and actually part of this field we've sprayed way down there. I'll show you kind of the line of where we've sprayed and where we haven't. It's just kind of getting to be that time where the sugar beets are getting big enough and mature enough to take on their own and become independents. So there you go. We're going about 8 miles an hour, so you can get some ground done. But this thing is the same size as our row planter, so it's 24 rows wide at 22-inch spacing. These discs are a lot closer than that. The 22-inch spacing comes from those white cyclone deals. That is where the insecticide spools down, and it's just like a little granular grain. And it comes from here, and it's ran by this fan through these hoses down into there, onto the sugar beet rows, lightly incorporated to make a nice insect barrier, because sugar beet root maggot issues can be really big. I remember one time when I was a kid, I was riding with my dad in a sugar beet field, and it was a little later than this. I think it was June sometime. But like there was little flies all over on the tractor, on the engine, trying to get to the heat and on the cab, and that was kind of crazy. That was really something to see all those flies, and they can really damage sugar beet crops, and so that is why we do this. And so you can kind of have, like, depending on your operation, different insecticide plans. Some guys like something called counter in their planters, and they'll put that in right with the seed at planting. We haven't done that in a long time. This Thimet seems to be kind of the best coverage, so to speak. There's also, you can also use a spray chemical and spray it on as well. That can be a little harder to time. This granular insecticide, it kind of needs some rain to activate, as with most chemicals. So usually we welcome a nice rain after this to kind of get that barrier so that we can prevent those sugar beet root maggots from growing in the beets. And so this one was planted into a stale seed bed, meaning we didn't touch it at all this spring. And this one had a lot of wheat residue on it and some volunteer wheat growing, and that was a great protection for these sugar beets on this. The stands look pretty good out here. I think they were like 220, so I mean that's shooting about right. So we're happy to see that. But I did mention we've been spraying Roundup lately and kind of doing our first spray on our sugar beets to kill off any weed pressure and any nurse crop barley that we're growing, or any volunteer wheat like in this case. And so we sprayed half of this field. This part over on this side had a lot more volunteer wheat growing on it, so we wanted to get that sprayed, but we still wanted some protection. And it started getting really windy that day, so you can actually see the line in the field of where my dad sprayed up to. You can see that that's got no chemical applied, and this does. So there's sugar beet rows in there and in here, but you don't want the sugar beets to get shaded out. So it's all about finding that balance in when to time that first spray on the sugar beets. Okay, so we just hit a new milestone with this tractor. We just hit 6,000 hours. I'm sure it's not super easy to see, but oh, 6,000 hours. Where's the confetti? I love row crop farming. You can really see the rows here because the airplane didn't spread right exactly to the edge, but it's just so satisfying. There's some weeds by the trees, and you can see they're kind of curling up. My brother sprayed here 2 days ago, I think, so things are gonna start dropping a little bit. It takes a little bit of time, probably like a week or so, but you know, this nurse crop will be dying off and we'll have good sugar beets growing, and you know, roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, and so are you. Well, it's golden hour right now and it is beautiful outside. This is my favorite time to work for sure, and I just started a new field and I'm going right by the trees here, and man, there is some nice beets here. You can really see the rows coming up on this one. These look really good. So, and the sun's gonna set soon, so I usually like to give this thing a quick look over. There's kind of a lot I gotta pay attention to, and at night your visibility is limited, so I might hop out here, check, make sure all these cyclone deals are over the rows, and make sure everything looks okay here. So here is a nice sugar beet. You can see that they've come a long way since last time. If you look up close here, you can see those are the cotyledons, and then the farthest outside leaves, these two are the first true leaves. Then you got the second true leaves here, the third true leaves, and then the fourth ones are just coming up. So they take off fast when they're going. Stand looks good here. There's a couple of gaps, you know, and I'm right by the trees, so it's gonna be a little different here than out in the field. You can see the nurse crop out there. Here's some of it right here. We actually just sprayed this, so it should be starting to die pretty soon, but it is golden hour and you gotta love it. So you can see why this is called a rotary hoe, because those things spin. That one's in a track, so it should be farther down, but that one's in a track, so it's not. But this is what the insecticide comes through it. That is it right there. That granular looking stuff, that looks good. It's right over the row. That's kind of what I'm looking for as I look this over quick. And the insecticide's in those boxes, and it's driven through the hoses by the fan there. Well, everything looks good, so I better not waste any time and keep going. And just like that, we're running on the night shift. It's hard to see what's going on, but I can see enough to know what's going on. I can see the rows. It's hard to see with this nurse crop on here, even for me. So as long as I can tell where I'm driving, and you know, you can see like those cyclones, but I got a flashlight here, and if I do this, I can peer out there and see exactly. I could readjust this light, but I don't have to do this too long, and it's nice to kind of see what's going on. I feel like a spy when I can just like spotlight something on the Thimet machine and keep her going. So we're gonna keep hammering down.